Hi, Ron from RJM Music here. We're showing you today how to connect an Effect Gizmo to a Ground Control Pro and control 8 of the 12 Effect Gizmo loops using the instant access buttons on the ground control. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factory initialize these, and this just, well, shows you how to do it, and also we're going to show you, well, it's best to start with a factory initialized setup here so we are all starting from the same place. So on the Effect Gizmo, what you do is you pull the power from it, and then you hold the 1 and the 4 buttons and power it up, and then the lights just go on for a second and then turn off, and that's it, factory initialized. Now to get the ground control going, we're going to phantom power it from the Effect Gizmo. So the first thing we do is turn this around here and take our 7-pin MIDI cable and plug that into the MIDI input of the Effect Gizmo, and then plug it into the MIDI output of the ground control. And you can see it's all powered up. So turn this back around. Now, to initialize the ground control, what we want to do is get into setup mode, which you hold the 2 buttons that are labeled setup, and then you hit utility, and then you hit the down button to get to init mem, yes or no. And here in the data section, the 3 button is no and the 4 button is yes, so we hit yes. Yeah, warning, are you sure? Yes, we sure are. Okay, so now we've just factory initialized this. So now we're going to start by setting up things on the ground control here, and what we're going to do is go to expanders, which is number 4, and it says GCX1 is off. So what we definitely want to do is turn that one on. So we hit the plus/yes button here. GCX1 is on. Now we're going to hit the down button. GCX2 is off. We're going to turn that one on. And basically a GCX is an 8-loop audio switcher that Voodoo Lab makes. And so what we do is since the Effect Gizmo has 12 loops, we say that loops 1 through 8 are the first GCX, and then loops 9 through 12 are the second GCX. Obviously that GCX only has 4 loops. So we've enabled the GCXs. Now we're going to exit setup mode here. And so now that part is set up. Now we're going to set up the Effect Gizmo, and we're just going to tell it to basically pretend it's 2 GCXs. So we pull the power, hold the 1 button, and it flashes. And now we're in this setup mode here. This is all described in the manual, but basically the first 4 buttons control the MIDI channel the Effect Gizmo is on. The next 4 buttons control the continuous controller numbers, and then the ones we care about here are 9 and 10, and these turn on GCX mode for the first 8 loops and the last 4 loops. And so now this thing is effectively 2 GCXs. These ones in here, the 5 through 8 range, control which GCX each part is set to. And this is described better in the manual, but basically this is the way we want it. 5 and 6 are off, which makes the first half GCX1. 7 and 8, 7 is on, 8 is off, which makes the second group of loops GCX2. So the only thing that's really important is just to know that we have 7, 9, and 10 on, and all the rest are off, and that will set it up correctly. And now we hit the right button, and it stores it. So now what we can do here is use these buttons here. I have to change one more thing here. We go into setup mode and utility, and it says 10 presets per bank. We have to change that. We hit plus to go to 4 presets per bank. The way it starts, all of these 10 buttons here are for preset recall by default. Now that we've set it to 4 presets per bank, then 1, 2, 3, 4 across the bottom are set to be presets, and then the upper 8 here are set to be controlling audio loops. And so now we've done that. We exit setup again. And now when we hit these things, you'll notice that as I hit each one of these, it turns on one of the loops on the effect gizmo. And so that's so right out of the box it's set up to control the first 8 loops. But what if you don't want to control the first 8? What if you want, say, I want these 4 to control the first 4, and then I want these 4 to control the last 4, or some other combination. What we can do is go into setup once more, and once we're in setup, we hit the instant access button here, and now it's saying button 1 is GCX1 loop 1. What you can do is use the down button to go through each button here, 2, 3, 4, and let's say we'll go to button 5 here, and we're going to say button 5, we want to change that to control loop 9, which as you remember, these are considered GCX2. So I'm going to change this to, using the plus button, to GCX2. We're going to use the button to move over, and we're going to do loop 1. So now button 5 controls GCX2 loop 1. Hit down again, button 6, GCX2, loop 2. Button 7, GCX2, loop 3, and button 8, GCX2, loop 4. So now if we exit out of setup, you'll see that these turn on the first 4, and these turn on the last 4. And so you can do this for any combination. Any one of these 8 buttons can control any loop in the effect gizmo. They don't even have to be in order. You just set it to the GCX number, 1 or 2, and then the loop within that GCX. Okay, so now that you've got everything set up on the effect gizmo and ground control and they're talking to each other, the next thing to do is to save your presets. Now, normally, with an effect gizmo and a MIDI controller, you would be selecting a preset on the MIDI controller, using the front panel buttons on the effect gizmo to turn on desired loops, and then holding the right button. But once you've switched over to this GCX mode, everything's different. And so what we need to do is select our preset on the ground control. We'll start with preset 1, and then you hold the edit button, and it puts you in this mode here. And what you want to do is hit the bank down button, and then it says GCX1. And what you can see is that these 8 buttons are now controlling the loops of GCX1. So remember, we're still on preset 1, and say, well, for preset 1, I want to have loops 2, 3, 6, and 7 on. And I can hit down and GCX2, and now remember, 1, 2, 3, 4 map to 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's say we want 10 and 11 on for this preset. And so with this, we can control any of the 12 effect gizmo loops and have them come on for each preset. So we're done here, so we press edit again, save, yes. Now I'm going to hit preset 2. And so now it clears out everything because we don't have any loops stored. So on this one, we're going to hold edit again, and then we're going to press bank down to get to GCX1, and we'll just say we want loop 1 on here, and on GCX2, we want loop 4, which corresponds to 1 and 12 here. We'll press edit and save. So now, when I hit the 1 button, I have 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, and 11 turn on. When I hit button 2, I have 1 and 12 turn on. And you'll notice that these buttons here also turn on correspondingly. And you'll notice that, basically we have 2, 3, which is here, and 6, 7, which as you remember, we assigned those to 10 and 11. But we have these ones turning on as well, and those ones, even though they're not accessible from an instant access button, they're accessible through edit mode, and so we can still control them. And we can go in and change any of these we want but when we leave the preset and then come back, it goes back to what we saved. And there is a shortcut here. Let's go to preset 3 and say, well, just for preset 3, we want loops 3 and 4 on. And what you can do is you can just hold edit and then hit edit again and save. And so now we've saved loops 3 and 4 on for preset 3. So preset 1 and 2 are how we left it. Preset 3 is now loops 3 and 4. Obviously, if you need to change some of the loops that are not controlled by instant access buttons, then you have to go into the edit mode. So say if we want to turn on loop 6 also, which there is no button on here that controls loop 6, we hold edit, go to GCX1, turn on loop 6, and then hit edit and save. So there you go. We have presets, we have instant access control, and that's all you need to do. If you have any questions, please check out our website or contact us at support@rjmmusic.com. Thanks.